Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome back. I'm Fuzz, and today I've got a few new collectible editions that I'm excited to share with you guys. I picked up three new releases, two of them on 4K, and then the other one is a Blu-ray set. So I'll be talking about the new 4K release of Dirty Harry from Warner Brothers. I got the collectible steelbook edition here, so I'll be giving you guys my thoughts on this release. And then a big one here, we also have the new 4K release of Re-Animator. This is the 40th anniversary collectible edition deluxe box set from Ignite Films. So I'll be showing you everything that's included with this release and offering my thoughts on the restoration as well. And then the last title I'll be talking about today is a new Blu-ray double feature from Arrow Video, talking about the movies FX and FX2. This little set here is called the Grande Illusion, and Arrow was nice enough to give us the full chunky box treatment for this release. So I'm excited to share my thoughts on this release with you guys as well. So that's what's on the menu today, and I guess we'll just get right into it and rock this. All right, so let's start off with Dirty Harry here. I picked up the 4K Steelbook. Now, you can also get this in a standard edition 4K as well. Personally, I like the artwork on the Steelbook a little bit more, so I decided to go with the Steelbook. And I was also kind of making a decision here. Like, do I want to collect these movies on Steelbook, or do I want to collect just standard editions of these movies? And I ultimately decided that, yeah, I think I'd like to get steelbooks for these movies. I just like the artwork on the steelbook more. Plus, I thought it'd be cool to have steelbooks for all the Dirty Harry movies. Of course, this is the only one that's been released on 4K so far, but I am anticipating that we're going to get the other Dirty Harry movies on 4K at some point as well. And I figure if they're releasing steelbooks for the first one, they're probably going to release steelbooks for the others as well. Now, I'll tell you up front, the restoration on this is absolutely incredible, and I'll have more to say on that here in just a moment. But first, I wanted to just admire the artwork on the Steelbook, because I really do like this artwork. I think it's pretty awesome. And when you go on the disc main menu, when you get to the main menu of the movie, when you're watching the disc, they use the same artwork on the main menu, so it all matches with the Steelbook, and it just looks really cool. So there's the front, and there's the back, which I really like the back. I actually think that looks pretty cool. And then we'll also look at the inside here. I'll open this up. Once you see, I got my J card that I always fold up in half and put inside there. By the way, someone was asking, Lewis? I think Lewis asked me about this. One of our Fuzz Club members here. He was asking me what I do with the J cards for my steelbooks. And what I do is I always just like fold them in half. I try to find some place to fold them without, messing up the information. And then I usually just stick them in that little clip there. There's usually a couple clips in the steelbooks. So that's, I always keep my J cards. I always keep them at the very least, just so I can, retain the barcode, right? In case I need it for anything in the future. Okay, and then I just took the disc out here so you can see the full art, and that looks awesome. I actually really like that artwork on the inside. So it's very cool stuff. I'm not a big steelbook guy, or at least I didn't think I was a big steelbook guy. Last year I did a whole video on collectible editions, and I talked about how I tend to favor slipcovers over steelbooks in that video. But since then, I'm finding that I'm starting to purchase more steelbooks. I'm starting to get into steelbooks a little bit more, and when I find a steelbook and I just like the art more on the steelbook than the slipcovered edition, I find myself opting for the steelbook more often these days than maybe I did a couple years ago. Now, as for the restoration, wow. I mean, this has got a huge wow factor to it, right? This really is the best this film has ever looked on home media, and it's not even close. I mean, this blows away previous releases of this movie on home media. The 4K is absolutely stunning. The detail is off the charts. You've got pristine clarity. The colors look amazing, right? They use Technicolor on this, and the colors just pop like crazy. They look awesome. You definitely feel like there's more depth and presence to the image than we've ever seen with this movie before. I think this actually may be a contender for one of the best 4Ks of the year, just based on the restoration. It's that good. It really is just a tremendous restoration and incredible transfer. And what's interesting for me about this one is I actually remembered the Blu-ray looking pretty good. I mean, when I first popped this on, I didn't watch the Blu-ray first to compare or anything. I just went straight for the 4K, right? And I hadn't seen the film in about 4 or 5 years when I watched this 4K. And the last time I watched it was probably not too long after I had just gotten back into collecting, after taking a rather lengthy hiatus from collecting that lasted the better part of a decade. For those who are new to the channel and don't know my story, I used to collect DVDs and Blu-rays back in the day, and then I stopped for many, many years and kind of went down the on-demand and streaming rabbit hole for, like I said, the better part of a decade, maybe like 8 years, 9 years, something like that. And when I first got back into collecting, one of the early titles that I added to my collection was this Dirty Harry Blu-ray set, right? A 4-film set here. I don't know why they didn't include the Deadpool in this one, but whatever. I had all these on DVD, right? And I had never gotten around to upgrading them to Blu-ray at the time when I was first getting back into collecting about 4 or 5 years ago. And so the last time I saw Dirty Harry was probably around that time. And what I remembered about this Blu-ray is that it actually looked pretty good at the time. I was probably only a year or two into having my 4K TV. So even all the old Blu-rays I was watching were really exciting to me, with the 4K upscaling of the TV. And I remember at the time, I thought this looked awesome on Blu-ray, and I was really impressed with how good the Blu-ray looked. Well, fast forward to now, and I watched this 4K, and when I first watched it, I was like, yeah, that looks awesome. But, the funny thing is, I seem to remember the Blu-ray looking pretty decent as well. Well, after I watched this on 4K, I went back and kind of watched a few scenes on my my old Blu-ray here. And I was stunned at just how much better this looks compared to the old Blu-ray. Right? I guess my eyes have evolved over time, because what I thought looked amazing, 4 or 5 years ago, pales in comparison to what we got on this 4K. This really does blow any previous releases on home media completely out of the water. It is a stunning upgrade on 4K, and if you're a fan of the Dirty Harry movies, this is one I would definitely consider to be a must-own for your collection. You do get some what appear to be interesting special features on this that I haven't had a chance to check out yet. Most of the special features are older, archival special features. There's like an hour-and-a-half documentary on Clint Eastwood, just like a career retrospective. And then I think there's another like career retrospective type documentary included that's like an hour long. Now, those longer documentaries, they are like standard definition, upscaled standard definition. So, you do have to kind of deal with the lower quality there. But I'm glad they included those special features with this release, because I'll still watch them. I can handle a little bit of SD if I'm watching like a documentary or something. I just don't do it for movies, right? I don't feel like I can have a cinematic experience in standard definition, but I can handle it for, watching a documentary on something. So I'm really grateful that they included those old documentaries, because that is the kind of thing that I am definitely interested in. There are a couple new like featurettes, but they're really short. They're only like 7 or 8 minutes. They're not very long. And I haven't had a chance to check out any of the special features on this yet. Only had a chance to watch the movie, but not actually dive into any of the special features yet. It doesn't sound like there's a whole lot of new stuff, but they are all new to me. So I will look forward to watching those at some point. Now, if I had to give this one a fuzz score, I think I'd probably give it about a 9 out of 10. Very seldom does something get a perfect score from me. In fact, I don't think I've ever given any title a perfect score, but 9 out of 10 sounds about right. It is I don't know if I'd quite go reference quality, but it's pretty damn close. It's definitely a demo-worthy 4K. So I guess that's about all I can really say here about Dirty Harry today. Yeah, just an awesome 4K release that I would highly recommend if you're a fan of the film. So yeah, Dirty Harry. All right, next up, we've got a big one here, one that some of us had been waiting for a long time for this one to finally get a 4K release. We got the 40th anniversary edition of Re-Animator on 4K from Ignite Films in the nice deluxe chunky box. You guys know I'm a big fan of the chunk, and Ignite Films absolutely did not disappoint with this release. It is fully stacked. tons of special features, an incredible 4K restoration. Yeah, this is definitely, I'll tell you up front, this is a contender for best 4K release of the year. I would not be surprised if this one ends up in my my top 10 top 4Ks of the year. When I do my year-end roundup in December, I have a feeling this one is definitely going to be on that list. All right, so let me show you what's included with this release. So first off, you got a J card that comes on the outer box there, which I haven't folded up and put inside yet. Wanted to just show you the J card real quick there. I don't know if you guys can read that, but you can pause it if you want. So what we got here, let's crack this open. Well, actually, first off, let me show you. So I'll give you a better look at the art, get closer there for you. I think the artwork is absolutely amazing on this. It's very cool artwork. There's not a whole lot on the back, just the Re-Animator thing there, aside from my fingerprints, right? And then, of course, there's your spine there. Very thick, chunky box. This is comparable to like a Second Sight release. This is very close to what you would get from Second Sight. So let's take this out here. First off, got a digipack here with the discs, right? You got 2 Blu-ray discs and a 4K disc. I'm not going to take them out here, but it's just a basic digipack. Pretty straightforward there. And some people don't like the digipacks. Some people prefer AMA-ray cases with like a slip cover. If I had any criticism of this at all, and I wouldn't even call it a criticism because it's really just personal preference, yeah, maybe I wouldn't have minded seeing this being in an AMA-ray case with a slip cover inside the box. Yeah, I mean, but that really is more of a personal preference thing. I also don't mind the digipacks either. They don't bother me like they do some. But that's the only, alternate suggestion I might have to improve upon this release that some people might appreciate. But I'm not disappointed at all, so it's not really a complaint from me. Let's see, what else we got here? We got a big, thick-ass book. This is a hardback book here, about 140 pages, I think, close to 140 pages. And I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but let's see if I can show you the some images here. There's like some little, hang on a second, let me pull this crap out of here. Let's see, so you got, you get essays, all kinds of essays in there, all kinds of photos, cool images, and I'm not going to go through everything here. I just want to give you guys a little taste of the book here. Yeah, some cool stuff. Very cool stuff. I like having books like this. I don't usually read them very often. I might browse through them a little bit, but I like having these in case I do want to go through and read through them because they're cool. It's just cool to have that kind of collectible stuff in your collection, right? Let's see, art cards. You get some art cards here. Again, it's a rigid, chunky box there, right? And the art cards, even the art cards are really nice for this release. They're glossy, which I really appreciate. So they've got a nice gloss to them, which you can probably kind of tell there from the reflection. There we go. Mr. West. So you got some cool art cards. Normally I don't get into these art cards too much, but I do like it when they make them glossy because they just look a little nicer, right? And then there's the last one you get there. That's like 5 art cards you get here. All right, so let's talk about the restoration on this, which like Dirty Harry is absolutely stunning. They really outdid themselves for this restoration. I have not a single complaint about it. Yeah, this just looked amazing. Incredible amount of detail and lots of depth to the image. The colors and the practical effects. Oh, wow. The practical effects on this just look incredible, right? What kind of adjectives can I use to describe how good the practical effects look in 4K? They're glistening, they're shimmering, they're kind of wet. They're kind of moist and glorpy and I don't know what else, gooey. Yeah. You get all of that good stuff in 4K. The practical effects look incredible and easily the best I've seen this film look. Now, I've only seen the film a couple times, and when I watched it before, it was on streaming, right? I never actually owned this before. In fact, I held off on buying the Arrow Blu-ray for like the last 3 years. waiting for a 4K release of this. So I'm glad we finally got it. And this release just absolutely does not disappoint. The 4K restoration is just incredible. You can see every bit of detail, but it's also a fairly clean looking image as well. I mean, you do see film grain, but it's just a nice looking image. It still looks relatively clean. You don't see, certainly don't see a bunch of damage or anything like that. It looks, I'd say, pristine clarity is what you get with this release, and that is definitely something to be treasured. So yeah, I can't imagine anybody really being disappointed by the transfer on this. It really is just incredible. Now, as for special features, this thing is totally stacked with special features. You get a bunch of new stuff included, but you also get like all the old archival special features. Pretty much everything that you could possibly imagine is available here, right? Including a feature-length documentary on the making of the film, but there's tons of interviews, tons of just great stuff to really dive into here. I haven't even had a chance to look into all the special features yet. I only had a chance to watch the 4K restoration, but I haven't had a chance to dive in to all these special features, and I'm actually looking forward to that because I'm a big fan of feature-length making of documentaries or retrospective documentaries, so I definitely want to see that with this film. So yeah, if I had to give this a fuzz score, I would give this a 9.5 out of 10. As I said previously, I don't think I've ever given any release a perfect score on my fuzz score scale, right? But this is a 9.5 out of 10. I'm sure some of you would even consider this to be a perfect 10, but I figure 9.5 sounds about right to me. Now, you can only buy this through Ignite Films. That's the only place you can get this. And they have several different versions of this. They have this deluxe version, and this one it's a pricey release. I'll just tell you up front. I purchased this, like 3 or 4 months ago, and it was like $80, right, to get this deluxe box set. It is a highly collectible edition. And they actually have an even pricier version if you want to go full-blown collectible. They have a version that is like $130, and it includes a Dr. Hill bobblehead, right? So you can always get that version if you want. I think that's called the Ultimate Edition, right? And then they do have a standard 4K version that you can get. It's a 4K Amaray case slipcover, but even that is like $50. So this is a very pricey release. And I will put a link in the description below to Ignite Films for those of you who want to pick this one up. I don't know where they ship to. I think they only ship to either just North America or even just the United States. I'm not even sure if they ship to Canada. So you may have to, those of you outside the US, you may have to take to eBay or something to get your hands on this. And I don't imagine it'll be cheap if you have to go that route. But they did not disappoint. They absolutely delivered on this release, and I'm just really happy with it. So yeah, Re-Animator. By the way, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, do me a favor and please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you do, don't forget to activate that notification bell as well so you can be alerted whenever I'm posting videos that you might dig. Also, don't forget to like the video as well. It really does help with the YouTube algorithm and the channel's visibility. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. All right, and then the last collectible edition I wanted to talk about today is from Arrow Video. I'm a huge fan of Arrow Video. They are probably my favorite boutique at this point. And they did a double feature Blu-ray release of, well, a couple films. One of them I'd seen, the other one I hadn't seen, but I've always been a big fan of the one that I had seen. I'm talking about FX, right? And FX2. I've seen FX probably a number of times over the last 30 years or so, and I've always liked this movie. It's a fun movie. For those of you who've never seen it, it's about a movie special effects makeup artist who ends up taking like an unorthodox job that's outside of his usual thing, outside of the film industry. And it turns out that things are not what they seem with this job, and this person ends up in danger, right? So it's kind of like a action crime drama thriller, but it's a lot of fun. Brian Brown plays the the makeup artist, the special effects artist, and Brian Dennehy is also in this as well. And I've always been a big Brian Dennehy fan ever since I first saw him in First Blood all those years ago. Yeah, Brian Dennehy rules. I've always been a big fan of his work. So I've always been a fan of the first film, and the second film I hadn't seen until I got this set. But the second film's just as good as far as I'm concerned. I'd say the two films are fairly comparable. If you like the first film, you'll probably end up liking the second film as well, because it's just kind of an extension of the story. It just kind of continues the story. Quick little addendum here. I forgot to mention this when I first recorded the video, so I had to come back later and record this. But this is a Region B release. These Blu-rays are Region B. It's a UK only release from Arrow. So you'll either need a multi-region player, or I can tell you the Panasonic hack worked just fine on this release. You know, Panasonic 4K players have that little hack you can do where you press the stop button and then the rapidly press the top menu button like 3 times in this case, and it spit me right out onto the main menu. So yeah, the Panasonic hack does work with this release, but it is a Region B release. So if you have some other kind of Blu-ray player or 4K player, you might want to keep that in mind. You'll need multi-region capabilities or some way to play Region B discs. And then, like I said, this is an import, so it's maybe not quite as widely available as other physical media would be, at least for those of us here in the US or in North America. I got my copy from Orbit DVD, and I'll put a link down in the description below in case you want to grab it from them as well. But you may also be able to find it at Diabolic DVD. They also carry imports, so you know, check either of those sites. Will probably be able to hook you up with this one. So let me show you what's included with this release. Like I said, this one is on Blu-ray, not 4K. I guess Blu-ray was the best we were going to get for these particular films. But I'm really glad that Arrow gave it the full chunky box treatment. I kind of wasn't expecting that. You definitely get the full chunk. You even get a slipcover. Look at that. Which is something that Arrow's been doing recently over the last year and a half or so, year or two. They've started including slipcovers on their chunky boxes, and I really appreciate that. I know they're kind of flimsy and they're nothing special, but it's a nice added little touch that I think you know, adds to the collectability of the edition. But yeah, you get the full chunky box deal there from Arrow Video. We'll take out, you got your disc here and an Amaray case, well, 2 discs. They didn't include both movies on a single disc, which I really appreciate. They've done that for some releases, but they're usually pretty good about giving movies their own disc. So you got the first movie right there, and then second disc with the second movie. But there's some other cool stuff in here as well that I thought was worth pointing out. They actually give you some stickers with this one, decals, some FX decals. So check those out. All right. Vermin from Venus. Song of Succubus. These must be the, oh, that's right. These are like some of the films that the special effects artist had worked on in the movie, some of the fictional films. So they gave you stickers for each of his, you know, his movies that he had worked on. Right. So pretty cool stuff. You know, I'm not one who really gets into stickers that much, but when it's included with a physical release like this, I still appreciate it. And I also just took the discs out here for a sec so you can see that they do have reversible cover art. If you like that original artwork for FX, they do include that if you want to swap out the artwork. I haven't had a chance to swap out the artwork yet, and I'm not sure if I really want to, because, you know, that's pretty cool artwork as well. Right, so you get some options there for the artwork, and again, that's something that I appreciate, those little touches with these collectible editions. Okay, and then you also get a little poster here, which is just that cover art there, which I actually really like that art. I think it looks cool. They even gave this collection a name, FX and FX2, the Grande Illusion. So I love the artwork. And, you know, Arrow does a pretty good job with the artwork that they deliver. I'm usually pretty happy with their artwork. And then you also get a little book there as well, which is what, probably about a 60-page book. I'll show you what's inside there. Let me see. I got these kind of books I have to... There you go. You get some pictures. You get some essays. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, so you get some cool stuff there, right? I always appreciate these little books, even if I'm not necessarily, anxious to read them the moment I get them. I appreciate that they're there because someday I might want to read them. So yeah, this is just a really cool package. I was kind of surprised that they gave it the royal treatment for these movies, but when I found out this was coming, I was pretty excited. I found out about this a couple, 2, 3 months ago. I found out they were releasing this, and I was excited because I hadn't seen FX in probably 3 or 4 years. Maybe even a little bit longer, and I'd never seen the second one, like I said, so I was anxious to get this in my hot little hands. And I think it just came out not that long ago. I think just within the last few weeks. It could be a little longer than that. I'm not remembering the release date on this, but I think this is a fairly new release. So anyway, it's just a fantastic release. Now, as for the transfers, I thought they looked pretty decent for what they were, but we're dealing with Blu-ray here, not 4K, right? So there's only so much I can really say about that. My assumption was that this is the best that we're going to get with these films, right? They look good for what they were, but they're not, they're obviously not 4K, so you shouldn't go in with these expectations of some, pristine, immaculate looking image. But I did think that they looked pretty good for what they were. Both films actually looked pretty good on Blu-ray here, and if anything, I think the second film actually looked a little bit better than the first one, and that could just be due to the source and what they had to work with. But yeah, I thought these looked just fine on Blu-ray. I had no complaints about this at all. No complaints about the restoration or the transfer or anything. I think this is probably the best we're going to get for these movies on physical media. So I was happy to go all in on this release. If I had to give this a fuzz score, I would give it, considering it's Blu-ray and not 4K, I would give this probably about an 8 out of 10. I think it's a solid release, and if you're a fan of these movies, it is one I would definitely recommend adding to your collection. I'm mainly giving it the high score because of the packaging and just the fact that it's these movies. 8 out of 10 sounds about right to me for this release. So yeah, if you're a fan of these movies and you don't already have this set in your collection, this is one I would definitely recommend picking up. So yeah, FX and FX2, The Grande Illusion from Arrow Video. Okay, so that about wraps it up for the latest collectible editions that I added to my collection. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Are any of these of interest to you, or have you already picked up some of these yourself? I'd love to hear your thoughts on them if you have. I always enjoy chatting with you guys and interacting with you guys in the comments section, so make sure you leave me some feedback down below. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Thank you so much for watching today, guys. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you soon.